the sky.
Yo guys, Rowan Roche here, welcome back to another video. So today, what I've got for you is a different type of video. Today I've got a sit down talking to the camera video instead of my usual match vlog, because as you know, the season has finished now, and today what I'm going to be discussing is the Blackpool FC 2018/19 retain list. Now the reason I wanted to make this video is because there are some players that have gone that, you know, I am questioning, and some players that we've kept that I'm also questioning. So I thought I'd make a video discussing the topic. And if you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Maybe like reaction to the new kit, the fixtures, predictions for the table, anything like that. Let me know and I'll make that video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as you can see here guys, I've got the retain list up on my phone. Firstly, we're going to start with the players that are already under contract for next season. And those players are Liam Feeney, Callum Guy, Mark Howard, Michael Nottingham, Harry Pritchard, Jay Spearing, Jordan Thompson, Matty Virtue, and Youssoufu Cisse. There's not really much to discuss about these. We know the most about them. Obviously, Youssoufu Cisse is a player that we do send out on loan, and he's still very young and needs developing. So there's no real surprises there, along with the loan players returning to parent clubs. Joe Dodu going back to Rangers. I think he was a good striker, but we didn't really give him much of a chance. I know he did pick up a few injuries. Also scored some important goals for us. So it is a shame to see someone like Joe go. Anthony Evans to Everton. I'm pretty sure if you're a Blackpool fan, you've all been waiting to see this. Honestly, he was shocking for us, absolutely shocking. There's no other way I can put that without, you know, going into too much detail. But Ben Hannigan to Sheffield United, this is a huge loss for us. He was one of our best centre-backs, one of the best players in the team in my opinion. Most consistent players, you know, he rarely ever had a bad game. I'd love to sign him on a permanent, but I don't think that's possible as of right now. And finally, Nia Kirby to Crystal Palace, another one which is a shame to see him go, but obviously he's returning to his parent club. I think they'll be looking to send him out on loan again, so if we can pick him up on another loan deal, that'd be excellent. But he might want to move, you know, closer to Palace or London, where I presume he lives. Right, so next up we've got the section that says contract offers exercised on, which basically means players that have been offered new one-year deals. And those players are Nick Anderton, which I think is good because I think he's a good fullback that we can develop. He's not the quickest, but he's still a good fullback. Mark Bowler, which is good news. Miles Boney, Armand Nanule, which, you know, when he doesn't turn up, he's not the best, let's be honest. But when he does turn up, he scores some important goals. You know, obviously our top goal scorer this season. But sometimes he can be a bit lazy. I think it's good that we've offered him a new contract because don't get me wrong, he's still a great striker. And next up, after Nanule, we have got Christopher Mafumbi. I've been quite impressed with Mafumbi ever since Howard's injury coming into the team. He's made some important saves. His distribution of the ball in terms of his kicking isn't the best. But in terms of, you know, his goalkeeping ability and his saves, I think he's a really good keeper and could go on to be, you know, our first team, even when Howard's back. Next, Rowan Roche, a youth development player. Curtis Tilt, which is really, really good news. He still could leave, but there's, you know, there's been a lot of rumour about him leaving recently, or in January and last summer, so it's a good thing to see that he's been offered a new deal. And Ollie Turton, finally, he's had a few injuries, but he's a very good fullback, so that's also good to see. So next we've got new contracts that have been offered to players and professional contracts that have been offered to players. So firstly, under new contracts, Nathan Delfonso, Jimmy Ryan and Jack Sims have been offered a new deal at the club, which is good to hear, especially the likes of Delfonso and Ryan, who I believe are good players, and obviously Delfonso's a long servant at the club, so it'll be sad to see him go. So next up we've got the players that have been offered their first professional contract, and those are Sean Graham, Emil Jaskalainen, I think that's how you pronounce it, Nathan Shaw and Owen Watkinson. So that's good for them because obviously it's nice to bring some youth talent into the team, develop them, send them out on loan, and maybe one day they could be making it into the first team. So now is here what it comes down to, the one everyone is looking for, and that is players that have been released. Now, Max Clayton is the first player that has been released, and apparently he was one of the most highly paid players at Blackpool, which I find hard to believe, considering he didn't play that many games. And, you know, he was a great prospect when we signed him. Everyone thought, you know, it was one heck of a signing, but he's obviously had a long injury, and he's never really been involved in the Blackpool team. He's been registered as a player for the last 2 seasons, but we've never really seen much of him due to injury and other things. Next is Mark Cullen. You know, it's sad to see Cullen go. He's done a lot for us, scored some great goals, like a hat-trick in the playoffs against Luton. He scored at Wembley to get us promoted to League One. But it is time Cullen moves on. After all his injuries he's had and an unsuccessful loan spell at Carlisle, it's time he finds a new club. So, like I say, it is sad to see Cullen go, but I think it's the right decision. Now, this is a strange one. Donovan Daniels, I did read from Matt Scrafton on Twitter earlier that apparently he's decided to move on himself, so it was quite a mutual thing. However, I did rate Donovan as a player with his strength, and he's actually quite quick, considering he's quite a big lad. So it's going to be a shame to see Donovan go. I think this was his second spell at the club, so obviously it's a shame, but if he wants to move on, that's obviously up to him. Chris Long. Now, what is going on here? I still can't get around this one. Now, I feel like this is more of a Long wanting to leave thing than, I reckon Mick Phillips might have wanted him to stay. I'm not really too sure what's going on behind the scenes. But with Chris Long, he was never really given a chance. He only scored 2 or 3 goals for the club, but every time he came on, he looked dangerous. And in my opinion, we should have been starting him more over the likes of Armand Nagnolet, etc. But it's a shame to see him go because I thought he was a really good player. Some of the goals he scored, and he got involved in attacks a lot. He would be good to have next season in the team. I'd definitely take him. But, it's our decision to let him go. John O'Sullivan and Scott Quigley, two that, you'd expect with them not playing. Quigley's been on a few loan spells to lots of Port Vale that, haven't been successful. And I know he had quite a successful loan spell at Wrexham. And John O'Sullivan's just not been involved for the past 5-6 months in the team. So I'm not surprised for that one. Finley Sinclair Smith, a bit of a strange one. He's quite young. We've been sending him out on loan a lot, which I'm quite surprised to see him be released, as he is a young talent and we could continue to send him out on loan and develop him as a player, but clearly not. And finally, Chris Taylor, which is one we all expected really, because if you see his Instagram stories, every Saturday, he's normally doing something else. He's not at the Blackpool games, he's clearly not been chosen to travel with the team, and he is getting old, so that's not really come as a surprise to me. But that is the end of the retain list. Now, there are some surprising ones on there. Like I say, I am surprised at Donovan Daniels, Chris Long, Sinclair Smith, and a few others that have been, offered new contracts and some that haven't, which I believe they should have been. But that's what the retain list looks like. Now, obviously, it is a shame to lose the likes of Long and Daniels, but hopefully we can build, a better team next season with new owners and a bit more money to strengthen the side. We definitely need a striker, and I reckon we need a couple of defenders, 1 or 2 at least. But I think we are lacking in the goal scoring department, with Nagnolet not really cutting it, and now that Hannigan's gone and the likes of Daniels, we do need a new defender. But if you have enjoyed the video and you want to see more, leave a like, comment down below, let me know what you want to see. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.